My mother passed away in my home. She was with me for 5 weeks on hospice, and it was the most amazing and humbling experience of my life. So many times coaches are like, go hard, be consistent, do this, do that, E-I-E-I-O. And like, that's cute. And it does work in a lot of ways. And then life starts lifing and death comes. When you know that you have done everything that you can do, when you know that you're doing the best that you can, when you know that you are doing as much right as you can possibly can, and you're honoring that person, or you're honoring your intentions, or you're honoring the people you serve, you can stand 10 toes down, claim your space, and get what you need. As Hall and Oates would say, baby, I am back. Baby, I'm back. And here's the thing, I am here to share with you how much death can teach you about living life. And so this may be kind of start and stop. This is just me being real. My mother passed away in my home. She was with me for 5 weeks on hospice, and it was the most amazing and humbling experience of my life. And I am grateful to be able to say that I was able to serve her. I was able to hold space for her between two worlds as the veil thinned and she ultimately transitioned to the other side. And it was everything. It was challenging. It was physically and emotionally and spiritually, a heavy lift. And yet it was also one of the most beautiful experiences that I have ever had. And I'll be honest with you, me, the word person, still doesn't have a whole lot of language to put around it. And yet I took the time that I needed. And this is going to be an ongoing process. I wrote a wonderful article about a year of first. And I just took a moment to breathe. And like, I want you to know how to do that for yourself too, because so many times coaches are like, go hard, be consistent, do this, do that, E-I-E-I-O. And like, that's cute. And it does work in a lot of ways. And then life starts lifing and death comes. And you're just like, wait a minute, like, let me really reassess everything. Let me take a moment to breathe. Let me take a moment to cry. Let me take a moment to laugh. Let me take a moment to say, what do I do next? Like, what does that look like? And so, in sharing that time and that space with my mother, who was 90 years old when she transitioned, and with all the messages that I've been getting, one of the most lovely things about it is my mother had a brand. Like at 90 years old, and it wasn't an intentional thing, but everybody who's reaching out is like, oh my God, your mom was such an elegant woman. She was always dressed so wonderfully. She had so much class. And it's because that's how she showed up in the world. She raised me in the church. As my brother teases me, he always says you glove wearing, hat wearing Baptist, And so that's how we grew up. That's how she carried herself. That's how she came to be known, for her flair and her grace and her elegance. And so as you're looking at like, how do I break through the noise, and how do I do this, and how do I become this or that, it's like, be you, do you, show up fully and authentically as yourself on a regular and consistent basis. And your work will speak for you. The way you carry yourself will speak for you. And so when we think about a life well lived, yes, we want to be successful. And yes, we want to be able to support the charities and the people that we love and we care about. And yet, what is the legacy that we leave behind? Who do people know us to be? What is the first thing out of their mouth after they say, I'm sorry for your loss? and she was this to me, or he was that to me, or he was always XYZ. Like when you think about that, who are you? How are you showing up in the world? What is the legacy that you're leaving behind? I love how Seth Godin says, do work that matters for people who care. Do work that matters for people who care. And again, that doesn't have to be yet, like, yes, I'm all about building your freedom lifestyle brand, building a $1 million business brand, whatever that is. And yet, what is the difference you're going to make? What is the impact that you're going to make? How are you going to be remembered? Like, how will you walk through this thing called life? And when you exit, what will be left behind? What will be people say about you? What will they wonder about you? And so as we build something that matters, like think about that, because these moments will come. And so, and I kept serving in the way that I could, and yet I missed a couple of weeks on my YouTube channel. And guess what? The world kept spinning, and I'm better for it. I'm better for you. I'm better for myself. And that's the thing. You get to give yourself permission to be okay. Because like when they tell you like death brings out the best and the worst of people, my God. So yes, 50 Shades of Crazy has cropped up, and I have made the decision I will not join you in that madness. I'm going to do what I promised my mother I would do. So I cared for her and I loved her, and I created a safe environment, an environment where she felt safe and loved and at ease, and I promised her when she did not know where she was, that I would hold space with her, in between those two places, in the in between. And I would hold space and be there for her, as much of an anchor as I could be during that time, until she began to learn, like, okay, this is what this is. And it's a beautiful thing that, one, the body knows how to die. And people don't talk about it. It's like, oh my God, I want to talk about death. And yet death is a part of life, and the body knows how to die. And the soul learns how to transcend. And it's a process, I mean, yes, some people pass away instantly. That was not my mother's journey. And graciously and gratefully, she didn't suffer. She was just dying. And so she did that. And what was beautiful about it, though, is she lived her life. She lived life every day until the very end. It was a remarkable thing to experience. And so as we look at, what do we become, or how do we show up in the world? And like what I did is not for everybody. I get that. I totally understand. And like I wasn't like, oh yay, here we go. And yet what I was like was, mommy, I will honor who you've been in my life. And I will honor who you are. And I will walk this road with you the best that I can. And so I did that. And like I said, she had such a sense of peace. And there were lovely, lovely moments. There was one day that we just sat in my library with all the windows open, and there was this beautiful, balmy Savannah breeze blowing. And we just sat together quietly. And it was just those beautiful moments. And so what I want to encourage you is, don't miss the moments. Don't be so busy grinding and building this thing, this business, this whatever. And I'm not minimizing it, but what I'm saying is, live the life. Build something that allows you to enjoy what the fruits of your labor, allows you to enjoy your loved ones, allows you to be able to take a step back and say, guess what? I ain't got a video in me. I don't have a vlog in me. Yes, I can write. I can't get on this camera just yet. And be okay with that. Make that happen. And so, it's a year of first. Like I said, I wrote about a year of first. And so I had a couple of firsts very quickly. I had, she passed on May 3rd. And so I had my first Mother's Day without her. And then the next day was my birthday. And so I had my first birthday without her physical presence. And yet I felt her near. And so, what are you creating? Who are you serving? Who needs your love and attention? And do you have the freedom to step back and do something as big and as important as being there for a loved one as they make their journey home? Do you have the freedom to do that? So it's not about what car can I buy or what yacht can I get or whatever. And all of those things are fine. And yet, if you can say, I did my part. I showed up and I did what needed to be done. There was a show called, I think it was Legendary. She did what needed to be done. And I did. And like I said, now the part I played may not be for everybody. And yet I was able to rise to the occasion and stand in that space and was honored to do so. So you do the absolute best that you can. And then if you have to pass the baton, do that graciously. Like, do not become a burden to people because you can't do something. Do what you can do and then be gracious and let the next person do the next part. But don't be messy. Don't be petty. Don't be whatever those things are. Figure out what your unique zone of genius is. And here's the other thing, you don't have to be perfect. My mom was not perfect. I am certainly not perfect. Our relationship wasn't always perfect. And yet we worked through it so that by the time 90 came around, it was like, girl, I got you. And what was so lovely was she had me too. Like she was really mindful about taking care of me while I was taking care of her. Because I have an adult son with special needs. And so they were in the rooms across from each other. And so I'm, taking care of her and then, going to check on him and whatever. And one particular day I had just finished taking care of her and I was going to look in on him and he started having a seizure. And it was like, woo, here we go. And yet, fortunately, like I said, I had the grace and I had the strength to stand in that. And now on the other side, I get to say what matters. What matters to you, Roz? What do you need in this moment? And like I said, my mother was so gracious, like, make sure you're getting some rest, And I'm like, okay, mommy, I'm going to get some rest. And yet I did, like when it was all said and done. And that morning that she transitioned, I took some time to just breathe and just process and just begin the next process, because the next process was planning her funeral, and getting her body back to her hometown and all of the things. And so give yourself grace, give yourself space, give yourself permission to get what you need. And then do the next right thing, the next right step. And baby, stand 10 toes down. When you know that you have done everything that you can do, when you know that you're doing the best that you can, when you know that you are doing as much right as you can possibly can, and you're honoring that person, or you're honoring your intentions, or you're honoring the people you serve, when you show up with honor and integrity, you can stand 10 toes down, claim your space, and get what you need. So, baby, I'm back. I'm back and I'm excited about what this next chapter looks like, what I have experienced and what I've learned. I know it's going to continue to unfold, and I'm going to continue to learn and grow and discover from it. And I'm going to continue to share it with you. I'm going to share it with you straight, no chaser. I'm always going to be real with you and just show up in the best way that I can. And I'm super excited. Like, I have a new program launching really soon called Believe It or Not Awaken. And so becoming the woman that you were meant to be. And so in this journey, like I was already working on it when all of this happened. And so now there is a whole nother level of understanding what becoming looks like, because my mother became the next iteration of what her spirit is, what her essence is, her eternal being. And I got to share that experience with her and watch her becoming that next version of herself. And of course, in that process, how could I not become the next version of myself? And so I already know some things, like I said, when crazy crops up, you just take a step back. And so begin now to be mindful of who are you surrounded by? Who's meant to continue to go on the journey with you? What does that journey look like? And what are you willing to do to make sure that you do not sacrifice your gift and your calling, your true calling? Like, do not play with this thing called life. Do not play with this gift that you have. Like, don't play. Really, now is the time to show up, to awaken to that person that you know that you're meant to be, to continue to evolve and unfold into the best and highest version of who you are meant to be. And I will walk this path with you. And I've got so much more information. Like, I had a lot to start with, but baby, I'm on like a PhD level, like what I have experienced. And like I said, I'm still processing it. I'm still excited about what is the lesson and what lessons will my mother continue to teach me from the other side of the veil. So I want you to really take a moment and consider what matters most. Consider what you know you were meant to do, what you know you are created to be, and what you know you are capable of becoming, even if you don't know how. Like I didn't know how to do home care. And yet, I mean, I did in a way because I have a son with special needs. But like, when the hospice team would come in and I would watch them caring for her so that when they weren't here, I was able to replicate that. And that's the thing. You get somebody who's already done the thing. So even for me, like that was new. And I learned it. And, and again, my mother just chose to be so lovely and so gracious and so cooperative, that even when I didn't do it all completely right, she would just, and it's like, Mommy, do you want me to turn you? I'm fine, and like, but don't get me wrong. My mother was also this extremely strong and determined and clear woman. And she was that in the process too. Because one day, the hospice nurse like asked her something that seemed crazy. And my mother just looked at her and she said, "Oh my God." She looked at me. I was so embarrassed. And so my mother still had her strength and her integrity and her dignity until like through the very end. And so what is it that you have? What is it that you have to share? What is it that you have to learn? What is it that you have to teach? And who is it that you want to serve? What impact do you want to make? I want to be a part of that journey. I want to support you in making sure that when it comes time for all of us to make our transition, that we leave a legacy and that we leave here knowing that we lived our lives as we were meant to be. So that's all I got for now. I'm back. For those of you who knew and reached out to me, thank you so much. And I'm excited. I'm excited to serve you. I'm excited to continue to evolve and grow and share what I've learned. And so leave me a comment. If you haven't already, make sure that you like and subscribe. Leave a comment below or wherever comments go and tell me what is the one thing you want to make sure you do in this life that you have. What is the one thing that you want to do or make a difference? What is that thing? Leave a comment. Let's start talking about it. Let's make a difference. Let's keep growing and going. So just know that I love you. I appreciate you. I am so honored to serve you. And like when I tell you that our dreams, your dreams, are the roadmap to your destiny, like that road is such a beautiful road. And that destiny is so powerful. And there is a grace and a space between here and there that is so precious. And you're precious. And do not forget that. Your dreams matter. So stay connected, leave a comment, like, subscribe. And I remind you as always, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, continue to think big and dream even bigger. I'll see you soon. Be well. Peace.